Hello and welcome back to another episode of the CrossFit Harrow podcast. We are episode number 34. And today, I know some people obviously reopened yesterday, but we have reopened today and are very, very excited. It has been a full, packed out, busy morning, and we are so delighted that the gyms are reopened. We know that they shouldn't have closed in the first place, but that's a different story. Today, I wanted to talk to you about getting shit done. But I do want to start off this podcast by saying how strong and resilient every single one of you actually have been, and your commitment to your health and fitness over the last 6-7 months. The cards definitely haven't been dealt you haven't been dealt a good hand, and you've shown not only that you can think outside the box, but you're ready to go to battle. So, how do we get shit done in other areas of our lives? Well, let me say this, when a photographer can't change a scene, they change their angle and their lens to capture the best of that scene. And I can't say this word. Similarly, I did. When you can't change a situation in your life, you change your perspective and get the best out of that situation. And that's exactly what you guys have done over these periods of lockdown with your training. So we want to do that in other areas of our life. And you know, the circumstances sometimes you have no control of. And this leads me into saying that if you can apply that to every attitude, or apply that attitude into every walk of your life, then you'll be non-stop achieving and succeeding in everything that you do. Now, look, we all know that there aren't enough hours in a day to get everything done. And that, you know, some of you hear me say, like, there's never enough hours. And it's okay. If everything was completed on time, then life would be a bit boring. It wouldn't be as enjoyable. Like this kind of stress that comes with that, like good stress of it, the challenges that you face, they're needed. Now, you can read a lot more about what I'm going to talk about in the book called Eat the Frog. And I've mentioned some of this stuff in a previous podcast, but there are two approaches to this, and this first one is of my own, about getting shit done. So some of us are not very good at getting things done, and we kind of need like a little bit of a reward system going on. So you can either get the small tasks done to give you the satisfaction of completing tasks, and that might put you on a roll. You know, before we've said, like, you know, daily actionable goals and seeing how satisfying that is to tick things off. Now, there is a risk associated here. And that's because the task is so small, you end up doing a lot of fuck all. That's what if you find that you've tried that and that doesn't work, then I would say something that comes out of the book, that alternatively, you should get the most important task done. And that way you're able to complete the most important thing consistently and efficiently, and then able to outperform anyone. So some of us, like, you know, look at the most important thing as like the biggest thing. And yeah, it obviously is and requires more of your time, but you know, you want to spend the good kind of energy or good focus on that rather than doing all the small stuff first, if you're that type of person. And then when you get to the big thing, you're like, oh fuck, I've got no energy, I can't be bothered, I'll do it tomorrow. And then the list gets to keep getting bigger. And it needs to be a habit. You know, you've trained yourself to have breakfast, you've trained yourself to have a glass of wine in the evening, you've trained to be yourself at the desk for 9 a.m, whatever it might be. To succeed, you need to develop those successful habits. You know, if your physique, let's say, is you're happy with it, and you know, you feel that you're aesthetically in a very good position. I know that it's not about aesthetics all the time, but I'm just using this as an example. Then that is you successfully doing things correctly. It's a result of successful choices. And we've all heard of the paralysis by analysis comment. You know, we've all been there. We get too many choices, too many options. We end up choosing a rush, or we don't choose anything at all. So overcome procrastination and tackle the most important tasks first. Making a habit of getting the most important things done has two outcomes. One is immediate satisfaction, which is a massive weight off your shoulders, and two, long-term success. How good does it feel to do something that has been taking up a lot of your time? You know, a lot of your mental headspace. Completing those big jobs are a bit of a similar feeling for after a workout. The release of endorphins, they make you feel good. You know that you're capable of these tasks, and it does make you feel good. Once you do start to feel good, and subconsciously you want to complete more and more tasks, because you become a little bit more addicted to success. So some of the questions that you might find is like, you should ask yourself is, how do I prepare for this? Well, I'm going to break these into kind of little bits, and then use what applies to you. Is identify what it is that you want to accomplish and what you're aiming for. Okay. Once you can tick that, you can then move into, I know this sounds simple, but write it down. Make it concrete, make it real, make it, something that's in your hand, it's tangible, you can feel it, it's an actual something that you need to achieve. Then look at breaking it down. What is it you need to complete? What is it that you need to complete that goal? What's the step-by-step process? That will always help. Now you're simplifying it even more. And now you can start prioritizing them. You've broken them down, you've got the steps to complete the tasks, and you can put the tasks or whatever task at the top of the list. You now have got a goal and you've got a plan, and they're both written down. So you're another step closer. Now, this is probably where a lot of us fail at, and it's our deadline. What is your deadline towards your goal or what you're looking to accomplish? And getting that, whatever it is done. You can have an end deadline, so you've got the full completion, but then also a deadline for the steps that you need to take. And a goal does need a deadline, so you can apply yourself and the responsibilities that have come along with it to be completed. Without a deadline, you're pissing in the wind, and you'll procrastinate even longer, and you'll just keep putting it off. Next is taking action. You've sorted all the above out. We all have expectations that everything has to be perfect, but the reality is it's not going to be, okay? You're better to take actionable steps on an average plan rather than do absolutely nothing on a perfect plan. And lastly, do something every day to get ahead. I like to say that this is something that I'd like to think that I'm relatively good at, is trying to do something every day, little by little. And this is where you keep pushing forward. You build momentum. We spoke about that in another podcast. You get a little bit closer every day if you are consistent. If you put it off for a little while, it's going to be very, very hard to achieve that. Now, the best thing for me coming out of that book is this ABCDE labeling method in terms of you prioritizing your work. And this is from the book. So putting things in categories almost, or labeling this as in the alphabet as ABCDE. So A is the must-dos. These examples will be something that's very important and would potentially, or not potentially, would have serious consequences if you didn't do them. Maybe something to your line manager, your company director asks you to do, something along those lines. The B's are things that you should do, and we've all got a lot of those. And these have less consequences if you don't do them. An example might be, return an email or a call or text, and someone might be unhappy if you didn't do it. Okay. Using the labeling method, we're going to look at C, and would be nice to, and this is probably quite a big list for a lot of us too. These are things that are probably not that important, and doesn't matter whether you do them or not. They don't affect your work, and it could be simple as something grabbing coffee with a colleague at lunch, something like that. And I think a lot of us get stuck and put a lot of things into C. It'd be nice to, and then you kind of get this, again, paralysis by analysis, that there's so much in there that you actually get nothing done, and you're rushing around and trying to meet expectations and standards and everything else. D, and I actually think this is one of the ones that more important, is delegate. The more you can delegate, the more free time you'll have for the tasks in A, the must-dos. So, whatever those jobs are that, someone else can do because maybe they've got a better skill set, or it becomes under more of their job role. Not necessarily job role even. It could just be the fact of, they're better at you than doing it, or you need them to do it, whatever. But you'll have more tasks for the must-dos. And finally, E, eliminate things that were once important, but actually now you don't need them. Take them off your list. They're shit. They've been and gone. Don't need them. So A, B, C, D, E, the must-dos, the should-dos, the would-be nice-tos, the delegating, and the eliminating. Try that. Success can be learned. Those who are successful at tasks in business, in workouts, aren't intrinsically better than anyone else. They just use their time more effectively. Someone completes a workout better than you, quicker than you. Yes, they generally move better, or they could move better, but that in itself is because they're more efficient with the barbell, or they're more efficient with the medicine ball, or whatever it might be. They're more efficient in that movement, therefore the time is improved, or the score is improved. Okay? Work on your most important tasks and do it efficiently and do it well.